It's the Empty Wagon Fantasy Football Podcast, and we're back recapping week 2 of the NFL season. As always, I got Josh the Boss and Brad the Dad with me, and we're going to be breaking down those games, telling you who are the top performers, who to pick up on the waiver wire, and go over our bosses and bums. So let's get it started. Let's get this recap started, and we'll hand it over to Brad, see how he's doing.
So just so you guys know, if this doesn't go good, I'm leaving at halftime and I'm calling it quits. Ending my podcast career.
Well, you wouldn't be the first one.
Wow.
It's a bold move.
It's a bold move, Cotton. See if it pays off.
I don't think it will. All right.
You wouldn't be the first one today to do that.
Yeah, which is a great lead-in to your first game, Brett.
Are we going to fire it up with games?
Or
do you want to do some bosses?
Let's do some bosses first.
All right, let's talk about some bosses. We had some bosses today, and let's go into those bosses.
Bomb the Russians, crash into the sun. Now I'm dead. Like a boss.
So the bosses, let's get this fired up with, you know what? Like, he wasn't the number one quarterback this week, but I want to talk about him first, and that's Fitzmagic. Is he for real? 4 touchdowns back-to-back weeks. Philadelphia has a good defense.
I think he's for real.
He's the best quarterback in the NFL through 2 weeks.
Is Jameis back up now?
Yes.
How could they let him play? And so do you know who the Buccaneers have next week?
I don't.
The Steelers, after they just got carved up.
Oh, that's
today.
right. Yeah, it is the Steelers. Yeah,
So yeah, I think
that your waiver wire? Is that your number one waiver claim? Is Fitzmagic? If you need a quarterback this week, is it Fitzpatrick?
Yes. I don't see how it couldn't be, right? I mean, he was incredible. 2 weeks
You got to believe at this point.
I mean, he's 36 years old. I think you got to ride this hot hand until he just flames out on you.
I mean, I really think it's like 2014 right now because him and D-Jax are just dominating out there, and I don't understand it at all.
I don't even know if it was probably further back than that.
It probably was. I'm probably being a little liberal there with my time, but...
Well, they share their clothes anyway. So.
All right, so obviously Fitzmagic was a great boss. Who was your quarterback boss, Pat?
Well, I unfortunately had to watch Blake Bortles torch my New England defense. And he threw for 377 yards, 4 touchdowns, only 1 pick. And, man, he was just on today. I swear the Jaguars play to their opponent's talent level. Like last week, they faced the Giants, and they beat them by 5, and it was a close game, and it was just kind of ugly to watch. And this week, they just, both sides of the ball were unstoppable for the Jaguars.
No need to overdo it.
Why was everybody on the Patriots getting cussed? Did they just not want to be there? They were just like, I'm done. I got a concussion.
Well, the weather report
and here we go.
said it was 97, but really had a feel like of 110.
That's important.
Yeah, so some of the big bosses. So the shootout game was Big Ben and Mahomes.
Yeah, so this was my big boss, and I guess I owe this guy an apology.
Yeah, you do.
So I just want to say, Patrick Mahomes, 6 touchdowns today, 4 last week, 10 your first 2 games.
NFL record.
It is an NFL record, beating out Mr. Peyton Manning, who I love. I was wrong. I'm okay admitting that I was wrong. I didn't know that Mahomes was going to be this good this quickly. I wasn't quite sold last week, but now, after he carved up this defense like a Thanksgiving turkey, I'm pretty sure that I'm a believer. And if you can go get you some Patrick Mahomes, the price will probably take that right now. But I would say go grab him, especially in Dynasty. But maybe if you have him, you could even sell high.
I mean, I want to say you can sell high, but that defense is bad. He's going to have to keep throwing the ball like that.
Yeah, so you keep him.
Yeah, he got everyone involved today. Everyone was involved.
And he has weapons. So. He has plenty of weapons.
Okay, so those are some good quarterback bosses. Now let's get into these running back bosses. These were, most of these, your top 3 was kind of like regular guys. But
Gurley was a half.
Yeah, Gurley and Gordon.
Gurley got cramps and said, we'll just call it.
Yeah.
We'll get into that in the game breakdown. But
he still got 3 touchdowns, so it's all good.
Yeah, they did great. So Gurley and Melvin Gordon both got 3 touchdowns. The next 3 guys, though, who were straight bosses, were kind of surprising. The first one, you had McCaffrey. He had 27 points in PPR.
Yeah, it was a lot of receptions. So if you're insane and you're like, how's he a boss?
14 catches for over 100 yards receiving. Because the Panthers have no one to throw the ball to.
DJ Moore's back, baby.
Yeah,
Finally showed up.
Well, they have
It's only week 2.
Christian McCaffrey to throw the ball to. They actually, C.J. Anderson was a better runner this week between the tackles. He had 3 carries in the beginning game for 31 yards. But they got down early and they had to throw it a lot. And Christian McCaffrey was the guy. Now, the other 2 running backs, I was kind of surprised by, but one of them not so much, but the other one, he just had a really big breakout run. So those 2 guys, Brad, which one was yours?
Probably Matt Breida. I think Breida kind of took over that backfield back there with the 49ers.
The burrito.
Yeah. I mean, they were running all over the place on Detroit. I mean, they let Jimmy Garoppolo throw the ball, I think, a little too much and almost lost him the game.
Yeah, the interesting thing was, like, he had more rushes than Alfred Morris, and then Alfred Morris actually had some pretty decent catches in this game. It was really strange because their roles were supposed to be reversed, right?
In theory. Yeah, in theory.
Yeah, that was kind of weird. And then the last guy, Pat.
Yeah, Chris Thompson. So I had Matt Breida. I'll never say his name right. Let's just be honest. I had both those guys on my team, and I started one, so I got a half right. But yeah, Chris Thompson, just kind of like a poor man's McCaffrey, kind of a PPR guy.
Super efficient.
Yeah, he's efficient, but he's also, effective in PPR leagues and standard. You might not really touch him.
Yeah, I don't know if we saw this 2 years in a row being this efficient, but very impressive.
You ready to jump in these wide receivers? We got a lot. I mean, so we didn't talk about Cousins as a boss, even though he was a boss, and he produced 2 of the top wide receivers this week, Diggs and Thielen.
Yeah, they were amazing. I mean, this offense. The game ended up in a tie, which we'll get to that later, but Kirk Cousins and these receivers, they're clicking, man.
He's just bombing it out.
I mean, it kind of makes you wonder how all these other quarterbacks in Minnesota look so good.
I think it shows us because, I mean, it made Case Keenum, who had a subpar game this week.
He won,
but
2-0, baby.
Kirk Cousins made these wide receivers. They both had over 100 yards. They both had touchdowns.
Yeah, they were ridiculous.
Diggs had 2, which made him stand up over.
So you guys surprised by that?
I'm surprised they're both the top. That's my thing. Last year it was one or the other every week.
Well, last year Diggs was the one getting the touchdowns and Thielen was the one getting the receptions and the yards. This year I don't think it's going to be a problem. Not with Kirk Cousins behind center.
No, he finds the open one, or even not even open. He just threads it in there to Thielen on that 1 touchdown pass. And whew.
The Vikings look good, man. Between the Vikings and the Rams, I think we might have a pretty interesting NFC race this year. All right, the last 3 guys, 2 of them pretty common sense. Michael Thomas, AJ Green. Not really surprised by those guys. AJ Green with the hat trick in the first half. He had 3 catches for 3 touchdowns. Is how he started the game. So kudos to you, AJ Green. Michael Thomas just catching a lot of passes again. Just being a straight up man. Good, straight up boss. Good for you. And then the last guy, Curran, Pat, I know that you are most excited about.
Yeah, because he's for real. And everyone hates on me for picking him, putting him on my teams, and starting him. But guess how many targets he had? He had 19 targets. Ben loves him. That's
bananas.
All right. So
Big Ben threw the ball 50 times.
No, 60 times.
So 60 times. Sorry, 60.
60. 6-0.
Great. And you know what? If they're in a shootout, fire him up.
Well, I mean, yeah, if you threw it 60 times and a third of those passes went to Juju, that's yeah. I mean, it's tough to argue with that. He really likes.
But everyone was getting in on the action. He's in Jesse James had like 92 yards and a touchdown.
Now, do you think that this is a byproduct though of them not having Le'Veon Bell?
I think it's a byproduct of Patrick Mahomes throwing 6 touchdowns and them trying to keep up.
Yeah, I think it was game script. I think it was just the fact because even James Conner only had 9 rushes. I got it in my game notes here.
It was like 9 rushes for like 17
8 rushes for 17 yards. Yeah, that was in 1 touchdown. So I think it was just they got game script out. Patrick Mahomes had 2 early touchdowns really fast, and it just put the Steelers behind, and it's home Big Ben, who loves to throw the ball, and he'll throw the ball 67. He don't care how many times he throws the ball.
He'll just keep throwing it.
Juju had a good week last week, though, too.
He did.
Yeah.
So keep an eye out.
Yeah.
And AB was visibly upset in the first half.
Yeah, but they're playing really poorly on the defensive side of the ball. I mean, you should not have been in the shootout like this, but hey, they're winless.
They are. And Pat, since you brought up Jesse James, we'll just slide that over into our tight end bosses with Travis Kelce and Zach Ertz. We expect to see them every week there.
Every week they belong.
But
there.
Jesse James in there. Jesse James.
This is a fluke, people.
Is it?
Yeah, that's 100% a fluke.
I mean, if you're in a shootout, who do you want with you? You want Jesse James.
Oh, that's a good one.
Wah, wah, wah. No, you do not want Jesse James.
I don't know. Hard to argue with that logic.
Okay, well, then you had O.J. Howard, who had a great game, but he only had, 3 catches for 80 yards.
Yeah, but he had that one huge one.
Yeah, and that's what made it.
But we've talked about this with Fitzmagic.
Well, I mean, by that
Fitzmagic is there. O.J. Howard is the tight end to have in Tampa Bay.
And we agree with that. Now, someone that we can add to this list after the game that he just had was Mr. Evan Ingram. He had a great game tonight. He caught that touchdown at the end. He looked really good. The Giants in general, though, do not look good.
That offensive line is terrible.
Well, it was apparent to me that they really wanted to run the ball, but it just didn't work out. All right, so the bums, since we ended on the tight ends, we'll start with the tight ends. And somebody that you really love, Pat, ended up in the bums tonight.
I mean, I'm all right with George Kittle. I mean,
I don't think that's who we're talking about.
Listen, he's going up against the best defense in the league. They were determined, it was clear all game, to shut him down, and that's exactly what they did. They took Brady's favorite target, and they shut him down. Gronkowski only had 2 receptions, I want to say.
For 15 yards?
Yeah, it was pretty.
It was
Pretty
gross.
bum-worthy.
He's a friggin' bum.
It won't happen next week.
No,
Facing Detroit. He'll bounce back. It's not Jacksonville. It's not in 110-degree heat.
All right, and then so you mentioned both of our tight ends. Now our quarterbacks real quick. Andy Luck.
Yep, I called it last week. He throws interceptions.
He did. He threw those interceptions. He did not have a great game. He came back and threw another touchdown real quick just to go ahead and put his team back up and help out with those fantasy numbers. But it was in 4-point touchdowns leagues, it was 11.6 points today. It was not good. Alex Smith on the other side of that game was also a friggin' bum. And then, I'm not really surprised by the last name you have on this list here.
The Sam Darnold. I think I just put Sam Darnold on there because
you were drinking.
Well, no, he had 300 yards, but last week everybody got really high on Sam Darnold. I think some people got a little over on Sam Darnold.
No, I think it's true because the Jets won. They went to Detroit. They had a big win. But if you look at his numbers, not that impressive.
I think
instead of
Sam Darnold, it should have been Sam Bradford right here because he was a freaking bum.
But we also got Tyrod on here, and everybody was super high on Tyrod. And then he just did not look good.
I'm ready to see Baker come in and play.
I'm surprised. I mean,
no, he won't because Hugh Jackson's an idiot. We've established this.
And watching the game, I actually realized that they slapped a captain thing on Tyrod's chest, I think, just to try to keep him in the starting role a little longer.
Oh, my gosh. Okay. All right, so after that, we got our running backs. Some of these were really because of injury. The first 3 were really because of injury.
Yeah.
So we'll go ahead and start it off with Philly and their running back situation. Jay Ajayi went out. He started off pretty good, actually.
He did get a touchdown.
Yeah, and he started off pretty good, but he got hurt.
Yeah, he did get hurt. He came back in the game, though.
And Corey Clement came in, and he actually had a pretty good game in PPR leagues.
I think there's that Philly backfield. It's hard to determine who's going to be the guy in that Philly backfield.
Well, it seems like they want Ajayi to be the guy.
They do, but he's got those knee problems, dude.
He does, and you never know.
Well, no, now it's a back problem. His knee's good.
Yeah, it's always something. All right, the next 2 guys. Pat, do you want to talk about the next 2 guys?
Well, you already mentioned Mixon.
Yeah, Mixon.
Is he a bum, though? Because he got hurt. He left the game early.
He left the game. He came back. I mean,
he had a poor performance.
It was what we expect from Joe Mixon after week 1, where he had that amazing game, and people were comparing him to Todd Gurley. His own teammates were saying he's a 3-down back like Todd Gurley. I mean, we can see that he is the better back there because when Gio came in, Troy Aikman was saying that Gio just can't do what Joe Mixon does for this team.
Yeah. So give the guy a break.
But now he's going to miss multiple weeks. And I think that does hurt a lot of people like myself and you, Pat, who have invested in Joe Mixon.
Yeah.
That's true. Others on the list, Rex Burkhead. Again, another guy who's battling an injury. You guys are ruthless here. Not giving anyone
He got out-touched. He disappeared for 2 quarters.
He was concussed this week. He probably wasn't cleared to play.
Well, he was cleared to play because he was out there.
Well, Never underestimate what Bill Belichick will do.
Yeah,
Fact.
yeah, it's true.
Blue Mountain State over here.
All right, he's true. All right, and then the last two guys, Adrian Peterson. Which honestly, I wasn't that surprised. I thought that he would have had a better game considering the Colts defense was so bad.
That was my thing. I expected a good game this game because of the Colts defense and what he did last week.
But he threw up a dud, and then David Johnson had a bad game. But really, we could just say the entire Arizona Cardinals offense had a bad game.
Yeah, but David Johnson is that offense, and he was a top 4 pick. And when he gets you 40 yards and no touchdowns and 2 catches,
that offense just looks lost.
That hurts.
Yeah, they just look lost. All right, and then your receivers. Some of these guys aren't very surprising. I think Dante Pettis. I wasn't really surprised that he didn't have a great game.
No, it was just I think there was a little hype coming in this week with Goodwin missing. I think we all hyped him up a little bit more than we probably should have.
Yeah, the other guys are a bit surprising, like Randall Cobb. I think we all anticipated, especially because the big thing was with Aaron Rodgers sitting in the shotgun, which is what we thought. And Randall Cobb has great games in that situation, and he didn't really produce like we thought he would.
We thought we'd have a good PPR game.
Yeah,
Fitzgerald was an injury, but still, I mean, Fitzgerald's old. I wonder how he's going to pop back from this. It's a hamstring, so
yeah,
soft tissue.
He's done. No, I'm just kidding. He's not done. Sam Bradford couldn't throw it to Christian Kirk anyway. He's awful. It kind of makes you wonder when Rosen's going to come in there and do his thing.
Kissed by Rosen.
Okay, and then the last two, Pat, what do you got?
Well, Kenny Stills down in Miami. I'm not too surprised because it's Miami. I think last week was more of a fluke than it was the norm.
No, they won again.
They did.
The entire state of Florida is undefeated.
About Miami.
The entire state is undefeated.
They're leading the East right now, just so you know.
They are. That's true. It won't stick.
Talk about the next one. I'm going silent for a little bit.
Okay, so DT, Demaryius Thomas, he had also a bad game. He was dropping a lot of passes. I was watching this game. He dropped, I want to say 3 or 4, and some of them was just, come on, man.
There was one that was right in his breadbasket. Nobody
Come on,
around
man.
him.
But watching Cortland Sutton, even though he didn't have a great game,
he should have had a touchdown. Got robbed.
It's very apparent to me that Cortland Sutton is the future of the receiving court. Now, Emmanuel Sanders has still got it. He's balling out. But Demaryius Thomas, you break my heart. All right. I think we're done with our bosses and bums. All right. Now we're going to go ahead and get into our – we're not really going to do like a full-on recap kind of like we did last week. We're going to mostly give you some highlights. We'll talk about some news associated with these teams that are involved in these games. And then we'll give you some possible waiver wire dumps, pickups, people you're ready to – shoot for, like buy low on or sell high on. All right. So with the first game, we're going to talk about the Bills and Chargers. Brad, take it away.
So I'm going to start with the Bills. We didn't expect a lot from Josh Allen, and he made us all look like Miss Cleo, but he made that offense look better than what it was last week with Nathan Peterman. Kelvin Benjamin got a touchdown, which made Kelvin Benjamin flex worthy this week. If you really look, he got 10 points. And 10 points in PPR from your flex as a wide receiver. You're not upset about that. You're not super happy, but you're not upset. Because I know, like Josh, you've gotten Kelvin Benjamin in the last round in some drafts, right?
I mean, it's a wide receiver one. You take a stab.
Yeah, and he got a touchdown. So if he can get a touchdown and a couple catches, which Josh Allen had a rocket out there. He completed a 50-yard pass in the air. 50-yard pass in the air.
Cannon. But
they were behind the whole game. It didn't look good. Shady was on and off the field with injuries, so Shady's old.
Allen's got some legs.
He does. He was making some plays out there. Problem was just that whole team, and we made the joke about it. Vontae Davis retired at halftime.
Yeah.
Retired. An NFL player said, I'm done with this. I'm out. I'm leaving at halftime.
Yeah.
So that's really it with the Bills, though. Kelvin Benjamin, I think, with Josh Allen out there, he has some flex appeal, and that's really about it. I'm looking at the Bills. I'm not starting Josh Allen. I'm super nervous about Shady. I'm hoping Josh Allen's big arm opens up some of those lanes for Shady, but I'm still worried that teams are just going to cue in on McCoy and just – he's a 30-plus-year-old back, and we all know how that works out in the NFL. But going over to the L.A. Chargers side, I almost said San Diego, we had Rivers. He was your QB 11 so far this week. I don't know if Eli may have jumped over him, but I don't think so.
I doubt it.
Eli and Dak, neither one looked great, so I don't think either one jumped over him. He had 22.7 points. He looked good. I mean, he was making the plays you needed to make. The big thing was Melvin Gordon, right? 3 touchdowns, 2 receiving, 1 rushing.
Pretty excited about that.
His rushing numbers didn't look great, though. That was the big deal.
Didn't matter.
But his receiving numbers and stuff made him a top running back this week. The guy I really want to focus on, though, is Mike Williams. All right, so he caught a touchdown. It was 10.6 points. He's only 35% owned in ESPN leagues right now. This is a guy I'm looking at targeting on waiver wire because I think as the season progresses, Phillip Rivers is getting more comfortable with targeting him in the red zone. That's where he got his touchdown, was in the red zone. It was a short yardage play. Melvin Gordon's going to steal a lot of this, but if Mike Williams is a big receiver down there, he can get out of play. Keenan Allen got his normal bunch of catches. It would be nice if he fell in the end zone. It could have jumped him out to a possible boss, but there's a bunch of catches, a bunch of yards.
So, one guy we haven't really mentioned, but I do want to talk about is Austin Eckler.
He looks amazing. I mean, he looks better than a handcuff. And I don't suggest holding on to handcuffs, but he's a startable handcuff.
Yeah, it's one of those situations like the Tevin Coleman, Devonta Freeman situation, I think. These guys, they both seem to be valuable. And Austin Eckler, I don't know what his ownership percentage is, but he's a guy that I think if he's available in your league, he's a guy that you will just want to go out and target. You said that Melvin Gordon had some injuries today.
Yeah, Melvin Gordon was in and out with they were looking at his knee. I don't know if it was just because the game was out of hand, so they were just maybe playing it safe because why gets you destroyed. Austin Eckler's only owned like 43% of leagues in ESPN.
Whew.
So he's a guy you can go out there and start. I know there's a guy in our league that starts him, and he gets him 16 points. I mean, neither one of these backs are – the running game's not efficient in LA right now.
No, it's not. But the thing is like Austin Eckler seems to be better on the ground, but he still catches passes. Melvin Gordon catches a lot of passes, and they do like to use him in the red zone. Both of them are very functional. I think 43%, that's a guy you want to go on.
They are. And if we hear anything about Melvin Gordon.
One of the Melvins.
Yeah, Melvin Ingram. He went down with a knee injury too. But Melvin Gordon's knee or anything in practice, maybe possible questionable. I mean, Austin Eckler's like I said, you can start him now as a possible RB2, but you can, if Gordon misses any time, Eckler's an easy start at running back.
Yeah, I completely agree. All right, so that's about it on that game. Now we'll get into the Colts and Redskins. So honestly, I think Andrew Luck is going to be a better play this year whenever the Colts are going to be playing from behind. Kind of how he was in week 1 whenever he had to throw the ball a lot. He just wasn't very efficient today. He had 2 interceptions. Andrew Luck is one of those guys. I think right now, until he starts to get a little bit of this rust off, he needs to be a matchup-dependent player. So pay attention to that. The running game was still inept there. There's nobody I'm really excited about there. Even though Marlon Mack came back, he was very ineffective. As far as pass catchers go, I'm really looking at Eric Ebron. He got a touchdown again this week.
It's 2 in a row.
I mean,
is he the guy? Because Doyle didn't do much.
Doyle was 2 for 20, and Eric Ebron had 3 for 26 with a touchdown. I think the cream's rising to the top, boys.
It is. And I even heard on the broadcast them saying that Doyle doesn't have the athletic ability that Ebron has.
Who said that? It was
even brought up in the broadcast.
In the broadcast. Well, I've been saying that, and I agree with myself. Now, T.Y. Hilton. It was basically T.Y. Hilton catching the ball and then a group of other bad news bears that were not very good. So outside of Ebron, that's really the only person. I'm not ready to drop Doyle just yet. I think we need to wait and see how this works out. But overall, Andrew Luck only had 179 yards. You don't need to freak out about Grant or Ebron or Doyle or any of these guys that were your receivers in this game just yet. Wait on that. Now, as far as Washington goes, Alex Smith showed why he is not equipped to come from behind. He had to throw the ball 46 times. He had 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. The Washington Redskins are not built to come back. They tried to get Adrian Peterson involved, but they weren't really down to the point where they couldn't come back. They just completely abandoned their game plan because Adrian Peterson was ineffective. But if you would have just continued to feed Chris Thompson a little bit more, I think that they would have been able to come back. But they didn't do that. He did have 4 rushes for 1 yard.
Yeah. Jay Gruden came out multiple times and said that he wants to keep Chris Thompson to 15 touches a game max.
Yeah, and this is honestly a typical Alex Smith game. Safety valves were who he was targeting. Chris Thompson, 13 catches here, 92 yards. And then Jordan Reed, The other safety valve, 6 for 55. I'm not really interested in anyone else in this offense at this point. I would hold on to Adrian Peterson based on what he did last week, but outside of Chris Thompson and Jordan Reed, none of these guys. And I want to say, honestly, I believe that Josh Jackson is he's droppable. I don't know. Him and Jamison Crowder, and I own some shares in Jamison Crowder.
I own some Doxson shares, and I would agree with that.
Yeah, it's right now, I just don't think anyone on this team is trustworthy. So that's where I'm at with that. Now, Pat, we'll go ahead and we'll get into your first game. We're doing the worst games first because we want to get into the exciting ones later. So don't tune out just yet.
Yeah, got to keep you interested.
All right, so now we're going to talk about the Dolphins and the Jets, Pat.
All right, let me shuffle my papers here because I know how much Brad will love that when he edits this.
The important thing here is that the entire state of Florida is undefeated. Who would have thought the Dolphins would be 2-0? I didn't.
Let's just not. Let's not go there.
Jacksonville 2-0. I could kind of see that. They have a great defense. But even Tampa? Whew. Okay.
Wow, Tampa's for real.
Okay. All right, we'll let you go ahead and roll into this.
All right, Dolphins and Jets. Dolphins won 2012. Jets kind of came back there late, but not enough. Yeah, Dolphins are 2-0, like you said. Tannehill, he didn't throw any picks. Threw two touchdowns. So,
yeah, he had a terrible fumble too, where he just lost the ball out of his hand.
Well, that happens. He had over 200 total yards. But yeah, Kenny Drake, 53 yards rushing and touchdown. Albert Wilson was the.
We all saw this coming.
Yeah, I think he's still available in all of your leagues if you want to get him. But he had 3 catches for 30 yards and touchdown. And that was the highest.
Don't run out to get him.
But hey, when you only have 168 yards passing, you're not going to put up big wide receiver numbers.
It's all they needed, though.
Yeah, because Darnold's on the other side. Although he threw for 334 yards, he threw 2 picks. You're right. He still is a little young, but he's learning. He's getting better.
Baby.
And Isaiah Crowell ran for 35 yards, but Bilal Powell, 5 catches for 74 yards and a touchdown. He had a great game for what you're probably expecting out of Powell. And Quincy Nua, 7 receptions, 92 yards.
He's a hot pickup.
He is. He's definitely a waiver claim. I think we were going to talk about those two, and I think if he's available in your league, I'd pick him up because it's clear that this young rookie quarterback likes Quincy Enunwa. And Terrell Pryor, 4 receptions for 84 yards. But I would pick up Enunwa before I would pick up Pryor.
Yeah, and we thought with Jermaine Kearse coming back that Terrell Pryor wouldn't have gotten those numbers, but he's still, 4 for 84 is not bad for a quarterback turned receiver. In PPR,
and he had a few drops in there, so it could have been more.
Yeah, well, this Jets team, we didn't expect a lot. We didn't actually expect them to win last week, but, Quincy Enunwa is back.
Yeah, and he's only 57% owned in ESPN leagues, so he's out there in a lot of leagues. None of my leagues, but somebody's leagues he's out there.
Well, I got him in our debt league. So
before we move on, I know last week you said about Robbie Anderson. You don't like him because he's a deep ball guy and rookie quarterback's going to look to his checkdowns and guys that are in safe routes. And that's Quincy Enunwa for you. Although Robbie Anderson was targeted more this week than he was last week, but a lot of that was in broken plays.
Yeah, they tried to design a little bit to get to him, but it just didn't work.
Well, whatever they designed didn't work because he was covered a lot.
Yeah.
All right, what we got next over there, Josh?
All right, so the next game up, Brad, I know you're excited about this one. The Cards and Rams. This shouldn't take too long.
Hey,
yeah, I got halfway through this recap, and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to wing it because Cardinals, Bradford bad is what I wrote. Bradford bad. We'll call him Badford. I'm just dropping the R out of his name there. He did not look good. Did not look like a starting NFL quarterback out there. I don't know how long they can hold off the Josh Rosen. I thought we might actually see a little bit of Josh Rosen towards the end there because the game was out of hand. Just let him go in there. No pressure on him. Whatever happens, happens.
Yeah, the 2 rookies been looking good.
Yeah, and then we talked about it a little earlier. Larry Fitz, hamstring injury. They tried putting a sleeve on. He tried coming back out there, then he couldn't make it, so they pulled him again. Without Larry Fitzgerald out there, Bradford said he doesn't trust any of the other wide receivers, so that doesn't make me feel good about Bradford out there with Christian Kirk and these other guys.
Give it time.
Give it time.
Well, I'm just thinking maybe Josh Rosen gets out there.
I would agree.
Yeah. But this really hurt David Johnson because of the Rams straight up. Their front four just looked for David Johnson all game. Ricky Seals-Jones, who I think a lot of us, after what Jared Cook did to this Rams, we thought maybe Ricky Seals-Jones could do something similar to that. He didn't do anything. It was like 5 catches for 40 yards, if not even that, I don't think.
It's a lot of it boils down to the quarterback, though.
It's quarterback and line play. Like
It's
he
just
doesn't
bad.
have. So Bradford needs time to be good, right? He can't be scrambling around running it. They show those, because it was on Fox, obviously, because it was an NFC game. They show those shots from like the quarter, like from the linebacker point of view, and you just see his eyes super wide, and like he doesn't, like a scared little kid when he lost his mom at the supermarket.
I've been there, dude. It's really terrifying.
So, but that's really, I think, until they get this, and I don't know with the offense coordinator they have there, Josh, you can talk to this. He ruined your Broncos last year.
Yeah, he did.
And he ruined my Chargers.
Yeah, he did.
So
Why does he still have a job?
Because that's how the NFL. Norv Turner still has a job. Let's just get that straight.
Well, I mean, the Panthers.
He won back in the early '90s.
The Panthers are 1-1. They're not doing too bad.
But so then we get into the Rams. Greg Zuerlein gets hurt in pregame.
Didn't
Nothing
matter.
comes out about it until they score the first touchdown. They're like, they're going for 2 because Greg Zuerlein can't kick. And then Todd Gurley just goes in and just keeps scoring touchdowns and 2-point conversions, which gives him 30 points. And then he cramps up.
Nah, better not risk it.
Yeah, and they just said, okay. He was walking on the sidelines. He could have came back out there. He had his helmet and everything. They're just like, nah, we don't need you.
No need. You just sit this one out, bud.
Brandon Cooks balled out again. 150 plus.
I'm got to be honest. I'm very surprised at this. I did not expect that to happen.
Yeah, he had 7+ catches, 150 plus yards. I don't
Why
think
do
he
you
got a
not
touchdown.
expect
But
Why do people keep trading Brandon Cooks?
you get first round picks.
I mean, I understand that now.
Nobody wants to pay him. The Rams finally paid him.
Yeah, but like the Saints dumped him, the
They didn't
Patriots
want to
dumped
pay
him,
him.
and then like, the thing is like you're sitting there thinking,
He's
okay,
young.
he's not
younger than Michael Thomas.
he's not going to be productive, right, with Jared Goff. Well, wrong.
No, he's a great receiver.
And the announcers even
Yeah.
brought it up on the long pass that Jared Goff got to him. He had to slow down again. Like Jared Goff still hasn't hit him in stride yet because he's so fast.
Yeah, Brandon Cooks is the real deal, guys. If you drafted him, congratulations.
So yeah, the Rams' whole offense,
They're
they threw Tyler Higbee a touchdown just because
There it is.
They're
Told
just,
you.
they're just bored.
they hadn't targeted the tight end until this game, and then they finally were like, let's keep some targets.
Yeah, we might as well
do it.
just spread it around a little bit.
See if he can catch the ball.
They were trying to run out time just because they just felt bad for the Cardinals. I don't think they wanted them to have to take the
No,
field
and
on
that
offense.
Rams defense is legit.
Well, I think we knew that though. We knew that coming in.
Yeah, well, I mean,
with all those mercenaries they got this year.
Even with the Raiders game last week, we were like, well, maybe a tight end's going to be a weak spot for them, but nope.
Well, they stitched that up real quick.
Yeah, they did.
Well, not to mention all the talent they have. They do have Wade Phillips.
Yeah, who is a defensive mastermind. You give him all this talent to play with.
Yeah,
he's like a kid in a candy store, and he's pretty big.
Well, he's not that big. He's a sweetheart. I
Before
like
we
Wade
get on to
Phillips.
the next game, what about Zuerlein? Do we know any more about that? He's coming back next week.
It was a groin, and last time I checked, kickers kind of need their groin because that's kind of a big area when you're kicking the ball.
Well, last time I checked, kickers kick with their feet. So
Yeah, they do, but they kind of, I think they spread their legs and do little groin stretches.
give him some of those Aaron Rodgers drugs.
I don't know. He did miss some time last year because of back, so watch practice reports if he is your kicker, and he was one of the first kickers taken.
Barnaby.
Stephen Gostkowski, number 1 kicker.
Yeah, well, he still missed a
He
field
missed
goal
one,
day.
whatever. Everybody missed one this week.
Dude, you're not kidding. I mean, ask the Minnesota kid.
Actually, Vinatieri didn't miss any.
Minnesota and Cleveland, their kickers might be unemployed soon.
Well, we'll get into that in a little bit.
Yeah, that's dangerous. All right. So the next game, Broncos Raiders. This one, so your quarterback, the one that you picked up this week to play, kind of let you down a little bit in Case Keenum. Hit a rushing touchdown, was helpful, but he belongs back on the waiver wire now, especially with a tough week ahead of him next week in Baltimore, playing Baltimore. I don't feel confident in that. But the guy, Philip Lindsay, if he is still out there, which I know last week he was a really hot waiver wire ad. It's very legit, people. He had 6 more rushes than Royce Freeman. He even added a catch. Sure, why not, right? Royce Freeman had no catches, so he was out-touched him 15-8. He had 107 yards rushing. He broke a big one. Philip Lindsay is going to be the running back this year.
And he's 61% owned, so there's some leagues out there.
Yeah, he's going to be the guy. If for whatever reason he's not, Devontae Booker completely droppable now. Royce Freeman, if you can still get some value out of him, you might want to go ahead and look at selling him because Philip Lindsay's the guy.
Royce Freeman did get the 1-yard touchdown run, though.
Well, I think that's just mostly because Lindsay's not a big guy.
Yeah.
Looking at this, like he's a scat back. He's kind of like a Chris Thompson kind of guy. But he was trucking people and bouncing off of them like a pinball. Like the dude, he's strong for his size. He's still very impressive running back, and he's the guy that I would be targeting. Like we already talked about, Demaryius Thomas, he only had 5 catches for 18 yards. Not 80, 18. Wah, wah, wah. Freaking dud. It wasn't a great game for the Broncos passing attack overall, but now this is a surprise, and this is something to keep your eye on. Mr. Butt. Jake Butt. I'm not ready to add Jake Butt just yet, but 4 for 48 in PPR, that's 8.8 points. That's a guy that we might want to keep your eye on because he was a guy, he got quite a bit of looks from Mr. Case Keenum. That's about it from the Broncos side of the house. Now, Derek Carr. What do you do with Derek Carr? 29 for 32. Very efficient day.
And he targeted Amari Cooper a lot.
Amari Cooper led the team in receiving. 10 for 116 yards.
Yeah.
They said that they wanted to get him
involved.
involved.
There was another one that got called back for offensive and defensive pass interference. Weirdest play I've ever seen in my life.
Well, no, I saw both of them were pushing each other, and
but
then
they usually don't call that.
And then Cooper caught it and pushed off. It was a strange play, but I was glad that it kind of got called back because the Broncos won. So on a last-second field goal, but yeah, the Broncos defense didn't help you. Didn't do you any favors today. They were getting just lit up. Marshawn Lynch had a really good game. Marshawn Lynch even caught 2 passes. And we thought that was going to be a role strictly reserved for Jalen Richard. Jalen Richard, 0 catches. So I think, and he only had 2 rushes for 3 yards. If you picked him up, he doesn't look like he's going to be a part of their plans right now. They still kept Doug Martin pretty heavily involved, and even he had a catch. I just don't look like, and when they don't have to, they're not going to throw to their running backs very much.
Well, I think game script dictated Jalen Richard not getting the ball. Raiders were up most of this game.
That's true.
And the Broncos had to come from behind to win, which is why I think Philip Lindsay got so much work and why Jalen Richard got not as much work. Because I think the Raiders were trying to milk the clock, work the clock out, and just do what what John Gruden wanted to do, right? Take it back to old school.
Yeah, the thing was like, okay, so the Raiders are going to be playing the Dolphins next week, and I still don't feel comfortable with Amari Cooper. If you drafted Amari Cooper, chances are you're going to play him. He's at least going to be in your flex. But, I mean, the teams that have played Miami so far haven't really been that successful on offense.
No, Xavier Howard is the real deal down in Miami, their corner.
Yeah.
And he is good. He had an awesome interception.
Yeah, so that's something to be wary. I'm going to be very wary of Derek Carr yet. I understand that he had a great game as far as efficiency goes, but he still only had 1 touchdown. And them playing Miami, I'm not ready to do that yet. Now, you're going to start Marshawn Lynch again because they do want to run the ball with him. Mm-hmm. But Jared Cook even cooled off a little bit. Still 4 for 49. I think he's going to be a startable asset.
So with Jalen Richard and Jared Cook and cooling off, I think that has a lot to do with last week when they faced that amazing Rams defense. Those 2 guys were the checkdowns.
Yeah.
So Derek Carr was just getting nervous, and that's why those guys had those big numbers, because they were the checkdowns.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised they didn't get to Derek Carr a little bit more. But either way, they got the win. Is there anyone of interest that you guys want to point out?
Yeah, Marquette King. Did you see his video?
Yeah, he's a punter.
Did you see his video?
If you're in a league with punters.
No. Did you see his video?
Yeah, the Chucky video.
Oh, it was hilarious.
It was strange. I mean, weird. He's a Bronco
strange.
now.
I did not see it.
Okay, so he's on a rooftop.
Oh my gosh.
And he had a Chucky video with a bunch of money hanging out of it.
We're doing this.
John Gruden
didn't want to pay him.
Yeah, and John Gruden got paid a lot of money. So he had a Chucky with all stuff. And he just sees it and he gives it kind of weird looks and he rubs over and just pats it on his head so it'll be okay. To the Chucky doll.
And it said part 1.
Episode 1. Part 1, yeah.
There's going to be more. It's very, it's all right. Let's just move on now.
I'm not going to watch that.
So, Pat, your next game on the docket is the Texans and Tennessee Titans.
So, Titans pulled out the win, making the Texans 0-2.
What a bummer.
Yeah, close game, 2017, but Titans ultimately won. Your boy.
He had a good game.
Back game. Yeah,
good game.
Like I said, kind of expected it, but 310 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick, and added 44 rush yards.
Yes, Will Fuller the fifth, Brad. Yes.
I'll let Pat get there.
You want to? Okay. Lamar Miller, only 68 yards on the ground. No touchdowns. Didn't really do much in the passing game. So that kind of hurts you if you had Lamar Miller.
RB2 numbers.
Yep.
That's what he does.
What I keep saying. It's not attractive, but it's reliable. You know what he's going to get. And DeAndre Hopkins, 6 receptions, 110 yards, 1 touchdown. And your boy, Will Fuller.
The fifth.
8 receptions, 113 yards, and 1 touchdown.
Yeah, those 8 receptions, that was a lot. Because last year he got, 3?
He would get 3 with 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, kind of a different role for Will Fuller.
I really want to see this whole wide receiver court fully healthy. Will Fuller, Kite Kute.
And DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah, I want to see them all out there together.
I want to see how great they would be if they could block for Deshaun Watson. I mean, right, Pat? I mean,
you mean we don't play 7-on-7 during NFL games?
It's Pat's game. I don't want to take too much from him, but
No. I mean, you're right. If they could block, but I don't think Hopkins and Fuller are the blocking type of
No. I'm saying like the receivers would be that much better if Deshaun Watson could get a little bit of protection.
Oh, you mean from the O-line?
Yeah, man.
Oh, I thought you meant once he gets in space.
No, dude.
You mean trading his left tackle to the Seahawks last year wasn't a good idea?
Dude, this O-line is bad. Like, real bad. Like, real bad. Deshaun Watson.
I think with this 0-2 start, Bill O'Brien might be on the hot seat.
I don't know. I think that they're gonna get better. I mean, they're gonna come off of this.
Saying that for a few years now.
I think last year gave him about another year.
Yeah,
Look at Marvin Lewis.
Injury.
Marvin Lewis has been coaching for 11 years now, and
dude, how long did Jeff Fisher coach before people were like, okay, finally, this is enough of this guy? Like
John Fox. We can keep this.
That's the thing, though. Is really like
speaking of Jeff Fisher.
Yeah,
let's get over to the Titans. Blaine Gabbert started, so Mariota was out.
That's what they call a segue.
117 yards and 1 touchdown.
Nailed it.
Nobody started him. I don't even bother looking up the ownership percentage. But that's what Blaine Gabbert did. Derrick Henry only had 56 yards rushing. Deion Lewis only had 42 yards receiving. Or is that rushing? I believe that's rushing.
It was a disappointment. He was a bum this week.
Yeah, he was. Corey Davis, 5 receptions for 55 yards. Just really... And they won. I don't know how they won. But they won. Not a lot of numbers coming out of this game. Not a lot of big performers other than the Texans side of the ball, which they didn't even win the game. A guy whose name I can't even pronounce, Krushenk, had 1 reception for 66 yards.
He's a safety.
And a touchdown.
He's a safety.
He is.
It was incredible.
Yeah.
It was a fake punt.
Yep.
Good for you, Tennessee. Win however you have to win.
Worth noting, nobody had him because he's a safety.
So I set a daily lineup today, right, on Yahoo. And I was like, I'm going Texans defense because the Texans were missing 2 offensive linemen and Blaine Gabbert starting. Well, that backfired really fast.
Yeah. I mean, I started Baltimore's defense, so I don't feel too bad.
Did you see J.J. Watt's press conference?
No.
When they said, what are you going to do if it doesn't get any better? He's like, I don't know. What do you think I'm going to do? I'm going to keep playing.
I mean, that's
good answer.
What do you want me to? What do you want me to say? I'm going to quit.
I mean, hey,
Monte Davis did it.
Yeah, he
Monte
did.
Davis would do it. No big problem. No big
Is
deal.
that what the reporter said? 'Cause that would have been awesome.
I don't know. I didn't hear the rest. I just heard his side.
All right, what's our next game? That's pretty much all I got from Titans and Texans.
All right, so now we're going to get into the games that are a little bit more exciting. So Saints-Browns. Mr. Brad, what you got for Saints-Browns?
So we'll start off with the Browns here, right? They had a shot to win this game, even though I think both teams played pretty bad. I think we expected a lot more from the Saints here. Tyrod did not look good. I think a lot of people streamed him this week after what he did in the hurricane-type weather last week, and he didn't really run the ball. He threw.
Now he wants to talk about weather.
He threw one good. Right? He threw one good touchdown. The Browns cut Josh Gordon on Saturday. Well, they said they're going to cut him. Then they said we're going to wait till Monday to cut him. I don't know. They should have cut the kicker.
I saw a thing on Twitter. Somebody was making fun of him. They're like, the Browns meant to cut him. They ended up signing him to an extension for 5 years, $94 million on accident. So
yep.
That does sound like a Browns thing to do.
Yeah.
He's better off. You're better off, Josh.
So, yeah, Josh Gordon, we can talk about that in a little bit where we think he's going to go. Codwell, though, the guy that's taking a spot, he's a waiver wire ad. If you jumped on it early on Saturday, like I know you did, Josh.
Yeah, I did.
It paid off for you. He
Good.
got 6 catches and a touchdown. Like, he did good.
On your bench.
But whatever. I mean, you weren't going to start him. You wanted to see what he was going to do first.
Yeah,
right?
I didn't know what he was. How did I know that was going to happen?
Yeah, and Carlos Hyde
What?
got a touchdown, which I think we've all been waiting for to see them like feed Carlos Hyde. Wasn't really efficient, but he did get the touchdown, which put him over double-digit points. Browns though was just bad, man. It didn't look good. They didn't have any flow to the game at all. It was hard. It was hard to watch.
It was hard,
and they had a chance to win the game. Like they had a chance to win the game.
I feel like you're going to be saying that a lot when we're covering the Browns.
Yeah, Jarvis Landry was a big-time disappointment.
So they're winless, and it's happened by a total of 2 points.
Yeah. So they've been in the games. They're not getting
Or 3
boat
points.
raced out of here. But still, it's
3 points.
I don't know. Jarvis Landry didn't do much, and Njoku didn't do much. But then we go over to the Saints side. Michael Thomas balled out again, though.
He's so good.
He had 30.9 points in PPR.
He's so
2
good.
receiving touchdowns. He got targeted another 15 times.
He's so good.
He is Drew Brees' safety net. And then Alvin Kamara didn't have a terrible game. He had 17.9 points. But the thing I'm noticing about Alvin Kamara is his rushing numbers look bad.
They are.
They need Mark Ingram back.
Yeah,
Even on the goal line,
they're bad.
Kamara could not get it in. And I mean, so I'm wondering here when Mark Ingram comes back is, he's going to have a big role like he did last year. I don't think we got to worry about. Everybody was wondering if Kamara was going to run away with his job, and I don't think he's ran away with it. He's put up good fantasy numbers, but it's all in the receiving game.
Yeah,
When
absolutely.
you break it down and look at it, it's all in the receiving game. Drew Brees was Drew Brees. It wasn't what it was last week, but it was exactly what you expect from an 18 to 21 game. He's going to be efficient. He's not going to kill you, but he's not going to blow the stat sheet out of the water. I think the week 1 was going to be an anomaly for this year because I think they want to be a run-first clock management team. The defense played a lot better. I don't know if it was just the Browns or the defense playing better.
So I think that, keep an eye out for Callaway. And then this Browns defense, I think that they're definitely a streamer candidate depending on their matchup.
Depending on their matchup. But obviously Saints, we're not playing against the Saints.
Yeah, but not playing against the Saints or the Steelers. But, I mean, if they're going to be playing teams –
Baltimore?
Possibly Baltimore. I mean, Baltimore's offense isn't great, but you sit there and, you look at that. I don't think it was bad, man. I think that they might be all right.
Do they face the Bills this year?
If they do, they're going to be my defense of the week. You guys know.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
There wasn't a lot from this. Ted Ginn didn't do much. I mean, it wasn't a pretty game to watch. Like, it just was very choppy game.
So going back to Josh Gordon, though, before we move on.
Yeah, let's get into Josh Gordon here a little bit.
So they said they were going to drop him, right, on Monday?
Yep.
And then they took him back and said now we're going to trade him.
Yeah.
Well, so the reports were that after they let the news out that they were going to cut him, they're like, everyone was like, whoa, wait a minute. Let me just spit you an offer here and see what you think. And then when they realized there was that much interest, John Dorsey, the GM, the GM, he was kind of like, oh, maybe we should just hear them out. I think that they're going to try and get something out of him, and they should. Why cut him so he can go sign wherever he wants so he can be happy? No, you kind of screwed the Browns with your sobriety issues over the years, and I hope to God he gets healthy. That's the most important thing here is I do hope Josh Gordon gets healthy, but he did kind of handicap this team for a little bit. I don't see why they would be in a position to want to do him any favors and like let him pick the team that he wants to go to.
Yeah, and you bring that up. If he does get released, he is a free agent. He doesn't go through the waiver process.
Yep.
So he gets to go straight up and just pick his team he goes to. And Pat, I know you would love to see him on the Patriots.
If he's healthy.
What do you mean if he's healthy?
If he's
You
right.
guys took Randy Moss.
Yeah, but Randy Moss never had these substance abuse issues. That's a big thing.
yes.
The reason I don't
Randy
think it's a
Moss did.
relapse for Josh Gordon, that's why the Browns just want to get rid of him, is because now they want to trade him. You can't trade someone with these issues because they have to go in, they have to pass a physical and a drug test. So that's why I don't think it's a relapse. I just think it's Josh Gordon not wanting to play there. And there are some people with inside information into the NFL front offices that have seen this coming throughout the entire preseason. That Josh Gordon is not happy and that he's going to be available. They didn't think it was going to happen this soon.
I do think John Dorsey is trying to make a statement to the rest of the team, and I think Josh Gordon is an easy scapegoat for this. He's an easy guy to cut that you can point fingers at and say, "Oh, he's the guy. He's the problem." We're changing the mindset here in Cleveland.
Well, there were reports that he was showing up late a lot.
Yeah.
Drugs are bad, okay?
Drugs are bad. Okay. It's easy, okay. All right. Well, we do wish him well. Do you guys got any predictions of where you think he's going to land?
Dallas.
That's a good one.
Dallas? What do you got, Pat?
I think New England's going to make an offer.
The 49ers are supposedly the front runners, and the Browns supposedly don't want to trade him to an AFC team. They want him out of the AFC.
What if he went to the Bills? You think that would help the Bills at all?
No, nothing can help the Bills.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't know. He put up really good numbers with pretty terrible quarterback play in Cleveland.
Oh, man. No,
Gasoline in a match.
The Bills need a lot more than that. Yeah. Sean McDermott wants to get fired. All right, so anyway, moving on from that game, the next game that we're going to discuss is the Lions and 49ers. I had this game, and it was great for Matt Stafford. He bounced back. 347 yards with 3 touchdowns. Awesome. And I do think it was very apparent that Kerryon Johnson is more and more he's going to be the future. The price is just going to he's just going to keep rising. They didn't even let Theo Riddick run the ball this time. He did catch 9 passes for 47 yards, so he was still involved in the passing game, but Kerryon Johnson held his own with 5 catches for 23 yards, so he's definitely going to be the guy. That's my one takeaway, and it's even more important to note that Kenny Golladay, we're seeing the change in the guard. And we talked about this before where I thought that Kenny Golladay was going to start overtaking Marvin Jones. He has 6 catches for 89 yards and 1 touchdown. He's going to be that team's one of their top targets. Obviously, Golden Tate, he's not going anywhere. But I do think that Kenny Golladay, his talent is just overcoming what Marvin Jones can give them. I understand that Marvin Jones had the touchdown, but so did Kenny Golladay. I mean, what do you guys think about that?
I think that's, pretty apparent. Kenny Golladay is really good, and he's a great red zone threat. We saw that touchdown catch he had was pretty awesome, honestly.
Yeah. If you can go out and get you some shares of Kenny Golladay,
it's going to be harder. Each and every week it's going to be harder to grab him.
And honestly, since Marvin Jones got this touchdown, he only went 4 for 54 and he got the touchdown. But if you can possibly sell Marvin Jones, I think now would be a good time, to be honest. I don't foresee them sustaining these 3 wide receivers all year. It's going to be Tate and Golladay. That's my opinion. Now, as far on the San Francisco side, they won the game, but Jimmy G still wasn't great statistically. Well, he wasn't. He only had 200 yards passing. He had 2 touchdowns, which was great, but the reason that they won this game was because of Matt Breida breaking off that huge run. He only had 11 carries for 138 yards. But that one was like, it was what, a 70-yard run or something?
Yeah.
It was huge. And that touchdown really sealed the deal for him. But none of these receivers were very impressive. Garcon wasn't. None of these guys were very interesting. And Selleck got the touchdown. We thought it should have been Kittles and Bits, but it ended up being Greg Selleck. So I'm not really jumping to go get any of those guys. It's kind of a mystery how they scored 30 points, to be honest with you. It's not a mystery. We know how it happened, but.
And they still look bad in the red zone.
Yeah.
I don't know what.
Fire up Robbie Gould.
Yeah, Robbie Gould is the offense here.
He's gold.
There's a U in there. But yeah, he's definitely a very important part of this passing attack. So
it's called a pun, Josh. A pun.
Oh, no, I got it.
Oh, okay.
I got it. So anyway, Robbie Gould, I still don't think Jimmy Garoppolo is startable yet. I think that you still need to hold off on this. Robbie Gould is about the only person that you can start with confidence, and maybe Matt Breida, but like we said, just chill out because that was one big run that he had.
Which was Jimmy G's responsibility.
Okay.
He blinded him with his gorgeous eyes.
Okay, well, there's that.
Yep.
Next game, which I'm sure, Pat, you're excited to talk about, will be the Patriots and Jaguars.
Nope, we're going to talk about the Eagles and Bucks.
Okay, well, you have to talk about it at some point. So, Eagles and Bucks.
I'll save the Jaguars game for my next one, but we'll talk about the Eagles and Bucks. This was actually a really fun game to watch because the Bucks were running away from this, and the Eagles kind of came back.
Yeah.
But what's his name? Ryan
Fitzmagic
pulls out magic again and leads the Bucs to victory, 27-21. Another Florida team, 2-0, undefeated in Florida, right?
So
400
undefeated.
yards, 4 touchdowns, only to be outdone by Patrick Mahomes. So, must be in the name, Pat.
Well, all
I'm
right.
seeing a trend. I'll admit this. Last week I said Peyton Barber, go ahead, give him a start. He had 22 yards. He was terrible.
Yep, not good at all.
Yeah,
Well, we can't
terrible.
all be right all the time.
My bad, everyone. Hopefully you didn't listen to me.
We also said
on
Leonard.
that one. But Sean Jackson, play like it's 2013. 4 receptions, 129 yards, and a touchdown. O.J. Howard, we talked about him in the beginning, had that one big one, but ended the game with 3 catches for 96 yards and a touchdown. Mike Evans, Mr. PPR machine, 10 catches, 83 yards and a touchdown.
Because we all saw this coming.
And a fumble.
Yeah, he tried to do a little too much on that play, and Malcolm Jenkins just punched it right out of his grip. So, yeah, can't be messing around on that Eagles secondary, or Jenkins is going to come in and lay the hammer down.
Yep.
Godwin had a pretty productive game. He had 5 catches, 56 yards, and a touchdown.
Another waiver wire grab up.
Yeah,
He's out
absolutely.
there. He's only 30-some% owned.
As long as Fitzmagic keeps throwing for 400
exactly.
yards, Chris Godwin's
And
definitely.
what it relies on.
Yeah, you can fire all these receivers up. Not
Yeah.
named Cameron Brate.
Just close your eyes and point at one. And
Maybe that's what he does. Maybe that's the magic.
oh my gosh. Yeah.
On the other side, though, we had Nick Foles, 334 yards and a touchdown. Decent game. Corey Clement had 5 receptions, 55 yards, and he added 30 yards and a touchdown, but that was also because of Ajayi going down, where he saw more touches, more snaps. Ajayi finished with 23 yards and a touchdown, but we talked about that in the beginning, kind of went down early to injury, so kind of battled that all game. 2 biggest receivers for Foles were Zach Ertz, 11 catches, 94 yards, and Nelson Aguilar, 8 receptions, 88 yards, and 1 touchdown there at the end of the game, which I was super happy about because he was in my flex and kind of needed that to win that game.
Yeah,
win that match.
8 for 88 and touchdowns, pretty good. Pretty good day.
Yeah, it's a good flex play. That's what you want out of your flex.
I think the Eagles, we've heard rumors that Carson Wentz may be back next week.
Yeah, so he was cleared for contact. So really, I think if he's on waivers, and in some leagues he actually is, he's on waivers, you got to go get him. Because they're not going to keep letting this happen too long, but they are going to be careful with him. I don't think he'll play next week still. I'd be surprised.
October.
Reports are that he could start next week.
I
mean, we gotta see practice. We gotta see how practice goes. Obviously,
Talking about practice.
He isn't getting paid yet. It's kind of like Aaron Rodgers. He better get out there. He better get out there.
But if he gets out there, I think Zach Ertz's numbers are gonna go way, way up. We saw last year he targeted Zach Ertz a lot.
Which would be good for our podcast league.
Yeah, it would. We need it.
And then Alshon Jeffrey is still out, but he'll be back, and I think right about the time Carson Wentz is coming back. So although the Eagles are 1-1, it's looking up.
Yeah, I agree.
That's all I got for this game.
All right, good. All right, so the next, Brad, I'll let you pick. Chiefs, Steelers, or Giants, Cowboys?
Okay, well, I'll do Chiefs Steelers since I didn't know I was doing Giants Cowboys, but
All right. Chiefs, Steelers.
Chiefs Steelers. We've talked about Patrick Mahomes, 6 touchdowns, amazing game, right? We all saw it coming. Nope. Travis Kelce, huge bounce back game, 2 touchdowns, over 100 yards receiving. Big, huge game from a top tight end. Tyreek Hill did it again. It was a quiet game for Tyreek Hill, but he still had...
For Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, for Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, it's quite a game.
Because it was, he had one flashy play down the field, and that was it for his touchdown.
Yeah.
And it was only like 30 yards, so
Big deal.
he scoffed at it. The biggest takeaway from this was Sammy Watkins. He had 7 targets, 6 receptions, and over 100 yards.
Yep. Sell high.
So we saw this last year from Sammy. He'll give us a couple games. I think if he would have fell in the end zone a couple times,
dude, I'm gonna try.
You could be selling him so fast.
I want to try and sell him in every league that I have him in.
Kareem Hunt saw the end zone, which we've been waiting on. Had an okay game.
Yeah, still not great.
Still not what we saw last year, but what we saw last year in the beginning of the year and the end of the year. But this is what we saw when Andy Reid was calling plays middle of the year. Was just Kareem Hunt not getting the workload that we saw when other people called the game.
Yeah. Matt Nagy's gone, so
Yeah,
This is-
Matt Nagy ain't walking through those doors no time soon.
this is what you get.
Kelsey showed up.
Yeah.
Talk about him.
Yeah, I did. I said a bounce back game, 2 touchdowns.
Oh, okay.
But it's okay.
It's okay.
Thanks for paying attention.
You were just rattling them off because
Where does just show up?
It
All right,
was.
so is there anybody you're interested in picking up out of that game, or is it
No,
on the
these
Chiefs
are all
side?
pretty high owned guys. Even Sammy Watkins is pretty high owned.
I won't be owning him very long.
But
So-
he's still over 80% owned. So
Yeah. All right, so it's good to know that he's
even
not a drop
Mahomes
candidate.
is 90% owned. So
So we there was a conversation though of whether Sammy Watkins was going to be a drop candidate, and now I think that he's earned another week,
yeah.
kind of like Marvin Lewis. He's earned another week. All right,
Yep.
so now we'll go ahead and we'll get into.
Talking about the Steelers.
No, I haven't. But
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. We'll get into the
yeah,
Steelers.
Steelers. So it's home Big Ben. That's all I'm going to say about Big Ben. It's home Big Ben.
It's all Big Ben.
He's at home. You fire him up, and he'll throw the ball 60 times because he'll audible it. Todd Haley isn't there to keep him in check anymore, and tell him to run the ball. He doesn't care about anybody out there.
He really
We
don't.
talked about Juju's 19 targets. Antonio Brown had 17 targets. And we throw the ball 60 times. You watch, he's going to have a lot of targets.
A lot of targets, but it was Juju that came up big though.
Yeah, he was the one that got the yardage and the touchdowns. And then Connor, it was only 8 for 17 on the ground and a touchdown. Then he had 5 receptions for 48 yards, which still made it a good game for a guy you probably picked up off waivers.
It was a decent game, yeah.
Steeler wise, I don't know what you do.
You
They're
mean
home
Jesse
again.
James?
Jesse
Would you-
James had a huge game, but do you really expect Jesse James? You said it earlier, but we don't expect this from Jesse James. It was a fluke.
Yeah, this is a
It's a
cover.
shootout.
Yeah,
But
this
a
is
fluke is the most common fish in the sea.
All right. What's our
All right.
next game?
So the next game is Panthers Falcons. I'm going to run through this really quick. Cam Newton had an actually pretty good game statistically. He ran the ball 5 times for 42 yards, and he threw for 335 yards with 3 touchdowns. So Cam Newton, if you had this coming, I think I expected it, especially considering the Falcons' 2 best defensive players were out. I expected Cam to have a pretty decent game. I didn't know it would be that good. Now, the main beneficiary of this, like we already talked about, was Christian McCaffrey. He did really well. He still doesn't look good running between the tackles, but it is what it is. And then he had 102 receiving yards. Now, right below that was Devin Funchess, 7 for 77. He's still going to be around now that Greg Olson's out. And Greg Olson said that he's going to try and come back in about 5 or 6 weeks. Do you guys see that happening?
No, he'll try.
And then he'll fail.
Yeah, he'll
Yeah.
try to come out there, and he won't be able to make it.
I think, and we've talked about this before, the whole reason that he hasn't gone on the IR is because this will be Greg's last year. He's going to try and make it, and I really don't see him being successful. Okay. And then you had Wright. Was it Jarius Wright? Is that his first name? Jarius Wright? So Jarius Wright, 5 for 62 and a touchdown. I think this was mostly just because I don't think he's a great player. I think what it really boils down to is Atlanta's defense isn't healthy right now.
You're missing a guy.
Who am I missing?
DJ Moore?
1 for 51 and a touchdown?
Yeah, but who did they target on the Hail Mary play at the end of the game? DJ Moore. That's right.
Okay, well, I don't really expect him to stick around. But if you
Hey,
want
if you're
to,
only gonna catch one
Does this-
ball.
it better be 1 for 1, right?
Yeah, with DJ Moore, though. So he was finally targeted, and he had a catch, and he had a touchdown. Does this keep him on your team for another week? Because I was
think-
thinking about dropping him.
I think
Now
he's
I'm like,
I think he's an end of bench stash, and you're going to hold on. Like we said, Greg Olson's going to be out, so they're going to have to spread this ball around. But it's going to be DJ Moore's going to come along slowly. He's not going to be. He's going to be like a Carry-On Johnson.
you
Like
got another rush for 70 yards, though.
yes, I know. But like I was saying, you got to just. It's going to be slow. If you're going to keep him, you got to be patient, and you have to. If there's something better that comes along, you have to be willing to go ahead and say, I need my quarterback's on a bye. I need to have someone. I can drop DJ Moore. He's going to be the guy that you're not going to be afraid to drop. Now, on the Atlanta side of the ball, Devonta Freeman didn't play. Tevin Coleman did really well. 16 rushes for 107 yards. That's amazing. The problem is that once they got inside the 20s, he was nowhere to be found. They did not want to give him the ball.
No! God, please, no! 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 No!
It's a real bummer.
That's all you.
But
Tevin
Matt
Coleman
Schaub went out there and had a rush for 0 yards. So think about that. No, was it Ito Smith?
Yeah.
They kept giving him the ball inside there, but neither one of them scored. Matt Ryan though, 2 rushing touchdowns.
Everybody saw that coming.
Way to be a vulture.
Everybody saw that coming, right?
Now, Calvin Ridley and Austin Hooper both had decent games. How do you guys feel about these guys as pickup candidates? I'll let you answer first, Brad. Or Pat, I'll let you answer first.
That's Brad's answer.
No, Hooper, you can roll the dice on there. How much you want to gamble?
I feel like it's kind of like a Jesse James situation.
Hooper's like when you go up to the craps table, you're going to hit craps a lot.
Okay.
You're going to crap out a lot.
You're going to crap out, and then you have to go take a crap.
Yeah.
It's not going to be good. All right, so.
I think you wait and want to see at least one more week of production.
Austin Hooper is doubling down on a 12 at the blackjack table is what he is.
He's going to make a career out of having 2 good games a year.
Gambling?
All right, so what about Calvin Ridley? 4 for 64 with a touchdown. I mean, someone has to be the number 2 outside of Julio Jones, who didn't have a great game statistically. Calvin Ridley had just as many yards, and he had the touchdown instead of Cooper. So what do you guys think about Calvin Ridley?
More than I would believe in Hooper.
He was the best route runner in the entire class. Do you guys think that he's a stash candidate? Brad's refusing to answer this question.
I would definitely stash him, yeah.
That's how I feel about him, is I would stash him at this point.
Yeah, I guess.
It's over an hour. Brad's checked out.
I don't understand why I keep asking Brad this question. So
I'm not excited about Calvin Ridley.
You don't have to be excited about it. You don't have to be excited about Lamar Miller, but do you agree that he could have future fantasy value?
He could, but
Okay.
I like DJ Moore's upside still better, and DJ Moore's only gotten 3 targets.
Okay, let's say you can't get DJ Moore. Do you want Calvin Ridley?
No.
On the end of your bench, you have Paul Richardson or Calvin
Paul
Ridley.
Richardson.
Jamison Crowder.
Jamison Crowder.
D.D. Westbrook.
Dede looked amazing.
DJ Chark.
Yeah, he fumbled the ball.
Yeah.
DJ Chark or Calvin Ridley.
You know who they target in the end zone? DJ Chark.
Oh my gosh, never mind. He doesn't like Calvin Ridley. I think he's a bench stash candidate. Pat agrees with me. So that's where we sit on that. Now, Pat, we'll go ahead and move on to the next game. So do you want to go ahead and talk about the Thursday night game, or do you want to just move into the Patriots game?
I'll just move to the Patriots.
All right, Patriots, Jags. Let's get it.
Yep. Patriots lost. Jags won 31-20.
And that's it about the Patriots. All right, moving
They
on.
lost. Next game.
Nope. I already talked about Blake
Moving on to
Bortles.
Cincinnati.
Yeah. Exactly. Let's just moving on. Now, I already talked about Blake Bortles. He had a massive game, 4 touchdowns. TJ Yeldon, decent game, 58 yards rushing. But no one really expected him to have a lot of yards rushing. With Blake Bortles, high volume of passing comes Keelan Cole's 7 receptions, 116 yards. D.D. Westbrook, 4 receptions, 83 yards. They both had a touchdown. Dante Moncrief got in there. He even had a touchdown.
Why not?
He was around 50 yards.
Everyone gets a touchdown.
That's what it seemed like.
Speaking of everybody getting a touchdown, who finally got one? Austin Safarian Jenkins. Finally didn't get called back.
Yes,
Good for you, man.
But hey, I called that last week on our preview. He usually plays well against New England. He played pretty well.
Good for you.
So there's your 4 touchdowns by Blake, Cole, Westbrook, Moncrief, and Austin Safari Jenkins. I don't think that's going to be repeated because the Pats defense always takes about a month to wake up and actually start playing.
Yeah.
So
Is that what's going on in Detroit right now, too, with Patricia?
could be.
Well,
Could be.
They played a much better game this time. But don't the Lions play the Patriots next week?
They do.
Oh, I feel so bad for the Lions.
What?
When you go, no, the Patriots went out there and they got embarrassed today. You think they're gonna let that happen 2 weeks in a row?
No, they won't.
Hell no.
They didn't even get that embarrassed. Like, that was a somewhat close game.
They're going to work Detroit next week.
Yeah, probably.
I would.
Jacksonville's a great defense. I'm not even mad about this loss. And their defense absolutely shut Gronk down. He's not even on my stat sheet. He was on the bum in the beginning. Chris Hogan, 2 touchdown catches. Only caught 3 balls, but 2 of them were touchdowns. Philip Dorsett, he's another waiver wire guy. 5 balls for 44 yards. Rex didn't do much. James White was surprisingly the top receiver at 7 receptions and 70 yards.
If James White's in your waiver anywhere out there, you need to go pick him up.
Yeah.
I think this secured him as he was actually getting carries too this game.
Yeah, I said that last week. Not even pick him up. Start him. Put him in a flex.
Yeah,
so he'll get you points. You're gonna be nervous about it, but he'll do it.
So next week against Detroit, which Patriots running back would you say you feel best about? Standard.
Ooh, standard.
Yeah.
Well, Sony Michel saw the majority of carries.
Okay.
Michel.
I agree with that. And then PPR.
James White.
So
Or Burkhead.
Or Burkhead.
Or
Until
Burkhead.
Edelman comes back.
That's what I'm saying. So, but next week against Detroit, if you have to pick Burkhead or White,
I'm taking White.
I think I would go with White as well.
Because Burkhead's fumbled the ball too much.
And for all we know, he still could be hurt, which is why I think we didn't see a lot of workload from him today.
Yeah.
Tom Brady put up 235 yards, 2 touchdowns. Also, Tom Brady. Okay, well, that's wrong. But
he's very sensitive about
this. Whatever. You know what? Game over. Move on.
All right. So, thank you very much,
Moving
Pat.
on to Cincinnati.
All right. So, do you feel like you're ready to talk about Giants and Cowboys now?
I mean, I can.
All right. So, I'll go ahead and do the next game. Please get ready for that. And
what was the Thursday night game?
The Thursday night game was Bengals Ravens.
I can
so
talk about
if you
Cowboys right now, if you want me to.
No, I'll go ahead and get into my game. Vikings Packers, and then you guys just get ready for those. So Vikings Packers, a great game for the Vikings offense. Stephon Diggs, Kirk Cousins, Adam Thielen all had over 30 points in PPR. Just amazing. Now, the person who was actually hurting Minnesota was Laquan Treadwell.
He was terrible, and he got a touchdown.
Him and Daniel Carlson, who actually I love because he's an Auburn alum, he really hurt. Yeah, he hurt the Vikings today.
Sorry.
If he's your kicker, get ready to drop him because the Vikings are getting ready to drop him. That's for sure. Latavius Murray, he was there. He was there. Dalvin Cook was there. No one was really impressed with what these guys did, though. I was kind of surprised to see the Packers shut down the running game. I think that you kind of need to be a little wary of starting Dalvin Cook right now. Do you guys agree with that?
I think Dalvin Cook's going to be fine. I think he's just getting his come back from ACL. It takes a while to get right.
He's getting those sea legs ready.
Getting those sea legs, taking hits. I mean, he's got to be nervous every time. He made a cut last year and went down, right? So he's got to be nervous every time he goes out there that what if his legs give out on him again? And that's what most people say with ACLs is getting that confidence back that your legs aren't going to just give out on you. We didn't see terrible things from him.
I mean, but we said start everyone in this offense. The only one we said not to start was Latavius Murray. And in PPR, we were pretty close. I mean, you were going to start Dalvin Cook anyway. Even Rudolph did well. So we were pretty accurate on that. Now, as far as the Green Bay side of the house goes, this running game still doesn't look great. But I think that could change here soon. There's a guy coming back that you need to be targeting if he's out there. Mr. Aaron Jones.
Yes. I 100% agree. That run game in Green Bay has looked bad.
Yep. And they let Ty Montgomery sit in the backfield quite a bit. And that's something that won't happen, I believe, when Aaron Jones comes back. He's the best running back they have.
Yeah, Jamal Williams is a great pass blocker, and I think that's why we saw a lot of him in this game because Aaron Rodgers was not mobile.
Yep.
And they need somebody back there to protect him.
But 16 for 59 yards is just not going to get it done. He did have 3 catches for 12 yards, but that's not it. I really have to believe that Aaron Jones is going to be the guy. I mean, Jamal Williams and Ty Montgomery has shown nothing to think that they're going to go ahead and steal this job away from or take a stranglehold on it. Now, as far as the receivers go, Devontae Adams and Geronimo Allison both had pretty good games. Devontae got the touchdown. Geronimo still had 6 for 64. I think if he's out there, you need to really start considering him, even though he's the third receiver on this team. As long as Aaron Rodgers is out there throwing the ball, Geronimo Allison is a startable flex play.
Geronimo.
Okay, I thought you were going to add something of value.
No, he's a waiver wire target. He's out there in a lot of leagues.
Yeah, and then Jimmy Graham, 6 for 95. The old man actually led them in receiving yards.
This is something we didn't see last year from him in Seattle.
Well, we thought he was going to be their red zone guy, even in Green Bay. So great game. I mean, he was the one finding the soft spot in this Vikings defense. He did really well with that. I think that I was kind of surprised to see Green Bay have such a successful day against this Minnesota defense. But all in all, it was a game that Minnesota could have won. Their kicker screwed them. I still love them. But anyway.
Minnesota didn't lose it.
They did not. Now we'll go ahead and just because of recency's sake, we'll talk about the Thursday night game first. The Bengals and Ravens.
Yeah, so real quick, Bengals won this one, 34-23.
Yep.
Joe Flacco had a decent game, 376 yards, but he threw 2 picks to go along with his 2 touchdowns. Alex Collins had an all right game. He had 9 carries for 35 yards, and he added 3 receptions for 55 yards to that. So
that's what helped.
What's that?
That's what helped.
That's what helped, exactly, but you kind of expected more. He didn't get it.
They're not committed to him. Yeah, it's almost like they want to get rid of Alex Collins.
I don't know about that.
They have no investment in any of the running backs ever in Baltimore. The year before Alex Collins came around, it was Terrence West.
Well, no, they had... What was the guy that punched that chick in the elevator?
Ray Rice, but that was the last time they had anybody. And
Yeah, they
as
were
soon as
invested
did
in
anything
him.
And
I think maybe that's when they were like, okay, we can't keep
yeah,
putting value
but
on running
since
backs.
then, it's been
Thanks, Ray.
every year it's been a different guy.
Really messed things up for Alex Collins, who's earned it, by the way, in my opinion. Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah,
Go
anyway,
off on
John
a
Brown,
tangent.
4 catches, 92 yards and a touchdown. And Willie Steed and Michael Crabtree mirror images of each other, as they both had 5 catches for 55 yards.
Yeah, my Thursday night MVP came up as a dud. Crabtree.
You just picked the wrong wide receiver. John
You know
Brown.
who was?
If he's out there in waiver wire, pick him up.
You know who was Thursday night MVP?
AJ
Andy
Green.
Dalton.
Oh, I was gonna say AJ Green was pretty good.
I mean, 265 yards and 4 touchdowns.
Yeah,
But I guess it is AJ Green. 5 receptions, 69 yards, 3 touchdowns. Or Tyler Boyd.
So Tyler Boyd, that was interesting to me. I didn't know that he was going to be the clear-cut number 2, but he had a really good game.
Yeah, he was targeted a lot too, which is something you look for in a game like this.
Yep, target as much as AJ Green was with 9 targets, 6 receptions, 90 yards, and a touchdown.
I think he's a grab and stash right now. I don't know if I feel confident starting him just yet. Thursday night games are weird, man. I mean, they're weird. People show up, and you think that they're going to be the next best thing, and you'll never hear from them again. Thursday night games are weird, but I think Tyler Boyd's a really hot name right now.
I think we're burying the lead with Cincinnati though right now. We kind of talked about it earlier with Joe Mixon.
Yeah.
Even though he got injured, he still had 20 carries for 84 yards.
Yeah, but he's going to be out multiple weeks now.
He is.
At least 1, possibly 2 to 3, 4.
I think it's going to be 1, maybe 2.
Because of the extended week. I think
Because-
that's
yeah.
what saves him because it happened on a Thursday. He had the surgery on a Friday.
Yeah.
For people who don't know, he had arthroscopic surgery to go in and look at his knee and just clean up some.
Yeah, that's what I had.
Yeah.
And then I had to have another one.
Cleaned it up.
Yeah, clean it up. With the second one.
Yep.
All right. So
But yeah, that's pretty much it from the Thursday night game.
Are you guys picking up Gio?
No.
He's out there in a lot
Yes.
of leagues.
yes, I'm picking up Giovanni Bernard.
He's the running back there. Who do you
In
think
PPR
Walton's-
leagues, he's totally worth playing next week.
Do you think Mark Walton gets a lot of work?
No.
Okay.
I think Gio's going to be the guy. There's a reason they gave him another contract after his rookie deal was up. They kept him around, even though Gio has his role there, even with Joe Mixon. Because Marvin Lewis is stupid.
I agree.
All right. So now with this Sunday night game, last game on the docket, Giants-Cowboys.
All right. So, Jason Garrett, got something. You need to hear this. If you can't hear that, it's the dinner bell, right? Zeke wants to eat. He's hungry. Feed that man. Still only 17 carries for 78 yards, and he got a touchdown. He
Thank
was averaging 4.6 yards a carry. Feed him the ball.
Well, he didn't look great in the beginning, and that offensive line,
But he was still averaging 4.5 yards a carry.
he broke a couple big ones late. It wasn't.
No, he was averaging 4.5 yards a carry early in the game.
Mm-mm.
He was 9 for 40. That's 4 point. Okay, 4.
So not 4.6.
But it was close. All right. Zeke is the offense in Dallas.
Oh,
We
yeah.
saw Tavon Austin. He had 2 for 79 yards and a touchdown, and also had 15 yards on the ground. You guys going out there and grabbing Tavon Austin?
No.
Okay, good. Just want to make sure we're good.
The
So
Bees
something we need to bring up about Dallas, though, is that they re-signed Bryce Butler. He wasn't active for this game. He wasn't on the roster. But I could see him being another receiving person if they don't pick up Josh Gordon there. They had him last year. He knows the offense. It won't take him long to get spun up.
And he could start.
He could start because
He could start tomorrow.
Deontay Thompson was their leading receiver.
Yeah.
4 for 33.
Do you guys all have
Any
that pick?
receiver can start for Dallas.
That's why I think that Josh Gordon would fit great in here, but we'll see how that goes. Other than that, with Dallas, my tight end pick didn't get a touchdown. Shucks. Missed that boat.
The tight end for the other team did.
Yeah, but none of the tight ends on Dallas did, so I might have been wrong about that one, but at least another one didn't get it to make me look stupid. All right, Eli threw the ball 44 times in this game.
And it didn't feel like it.
No, it was only 279 yards. He averaged 6.3 yards at completion, and he had a touchdown. So his numbers aren't completely disgusting, but they're not great. This Dallas defense actually looks really good. Their pass rush is pretty legit. I don't know, it might be the offensive line in New York, too.
Hey, when you got a guy named Taco,
who got a sack,
you better watch out.
If this was a Tuesday night game, it would have been perfect.
Oh, Taco Tuesdays? Oh, amazing. Ding.
Well, at least a Monday night game where we could talk about it on Tuesday, right? Yeah. But, all right, so rushing, Saquon 11 carries for 28 yards.
But
wait, he only had how many carries?
11 carries, 28 yards.
That's how many Saquon had?
Yes.
No, he touched the ball way more than that.
He had 14 receptions for 80 yards.
Dude, because I swear I was watching the game and it felt like Saquon was touching the ball.
He had a lot of receptions. He had 14 receptions. He was up there with Christian McCaffrey numbers on receptions. He had 16 targets. He was the highest targeted person on the team. He almost doubled Odell Beckham, who had 9 targets.
It makes sense when you got Odell Beckham, Evan Ingram, and Sterling Shepard to target Saquon Barkley. That many
He was a check down. I think Eli didn't have time. Like we talked about the pass rush. Eli didn't have time to look down the field towards Odell. They were going man up on Odell with no safety over the top a lot because they trusted that pass rush to get to him.
So I noticed what they were doing is they were taking the slot corner and just bringing him in and blitzing.
Yeah. And
they were getting in Eli's face all night.
Mm-hmm.
And it worked. I don't know if they're going to be able to continue doing that.
The only time Eli's good against the blitz is in the Super Bowl. Isn't that right, Pat?
Why do you try to hurt him?
Thank you, Josh.
I know. It's so late at night. Don't hurt him.
I know. All right. But other than that, Odell, I think after the Jacksonville game, really disappointed Odell. Only 4 receptions for 51 yards. He had 10 receptions for 100 yards against Jacksonville.
It's going to get better.
Oh, it will. Evan Ingram, though, you kind of brought it up. 7 receptions, 67 yards, and a touchdown. Great numbers for Evan Ingram.
Like a boss.
He is. Wayne Gallman got some work. Not a lot, actually. He didn't get much. But Cody Latimer.
So,
all right, now you're reaching.
Is there anyone in this offense, anyone from this game, it's pick up or a drop?
No. Even Cole Beasley didn't. He had 2 receptions, 13 yards.
Yeah.
I think Cole Beasley is a risky flex play.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of talked about it
3
before.
wide receiver leagues, maybe.
We talked about it before. From week to week, we don't know who the guy could be in Dallas because there's no number one. That was very obvious. And tonight, they let Dak run quite a bit.
They did. I think this Dallas defense, I mean, they're the streaming candidate I think you can pick up here. Is this Dallas defense.
Interesting.
They have a decent pass rush.
There you go.
Matchup based.
And if you can get you some Saquon, apparently he's going to be great in PPR this year. He's on track now to catch over 100 passes. So.
Yep. Destroying Christian McCaffrey.
All right. So that's it for all of our recaps of our games. Thank you guys very much for tuning in.
And like Josh said, thanks again, guys, for tuning in to another episode of the Empty Wagon Fantasy Football Podcast. Join us later in the week when we break down our Week 3 matchups, what those players are going to do for you, who to start, who to bench, and some more waiver claims, and what comes of those players after this great Week 2 of NFL football. See you next week, guys.
Later.